Rev up your engines!
Toyota claims their hydrogen internal combustion engine could make EVs disappear. Toyota already has the hydrogen electric fuel cell car out there, the Toyota Mirai. And James May from Top Gear said it was the best car he ever had that he had to get rid of. He loved the car, but there was no place to put hydrogen fuel in England other than one place, I guess. So if you have no fuel to run your car, it's kind of a stupid idea, right? Now, we're talking way in the future here, because it does make sense. If there ever is a hydrogen infrastructure, right, it would make sense because you can make cars that will run on direct hydrogen, which don't pollute much when they burn, and at the same time change it slowly but gradually towards electric cars that don't have batteries but have hydrogen fuel cells and run the hydrogen to make electricity, and then the water vapor and a little heat is their byproduct. It will be a long time in the future. This isn't something that's happening in the next even 10 years, because they'd have to make clean hydrogen. They'd have to get all the hydrogen stations up, figure out, are they going to use hydrogen itself, or are they going to use ammonia, which can be transported in a liquid? There are so many things with this that it's going to be way in the future. It's not going to be something that you're going to jump in 2 or 3 years from now. No, it isn't. They would have to create a giant infrastructure of hydrogen. Now, it can be done if people really want to. Anything can be done if people really want to spend the time and money to do it. It's interesting technology. Toyota's using hydrogen in their little race car that they have, and that's not hydrogen fuel cell. That's actually burning the hydrogen. Interesting ideas Toyota's got going on, but it's probably not going to be till way in the future if they're ever actually implemented using either liquid hydrogen or ammonia as the base fuel to run these things, either by burning the hydrogen or turning the hydrogen into electricity with the fuel cell. Well, Ford CEO Jim Farley has now slashed the money that they're going to put into electric vehicles. Farley's already downsizing what was going to be a humongous electric battery plant in Michigan. It was going to be a low-cost battery cell, but the cost is too much, so much for the low-cost batteries. How about no cost if nobody buys them? Ford said that they're going to reduce the planned factory size by 40%, and staffing would drop by 1/3. And here's what they say. I love the quotes. We are right-sizing as we balance investment, growth, and profitability. Right-sizing, whatever the heck that means, right? In other words, hey, we're starting to run away from this electric car nonsense because nobody wants to buy them. I've said this from the very beginning. The government can attempt to force people to buy something. There's nothing they can do about it. And if they ever made a law in Washington that said everybody's going to buy electric cars, guess what? The people behind that law, they're not going to be reelected the next time. And it will be bye-bye all those crazy people who think electricity is saving people. It's not saving anything. It costs a fortune. It stops pollution a tiny little bit. I mean, the whole thing is just smoke and mirrors like usual in politics, right? The carbon dioxide that comes out of cars is something like 20% of what we do in the United States, right? Only 20%. And if you're even saving anything with these electric cars, because you're still generating electricity and all that crap, maybe you're saving 5% or 10% of 20%, which is a spit in the bucket, right? Stop living in a fantasy world. Ford Motor Company's already jumping out of their fantasy, like, whoa, hold your horses on these electric cars. How many billion did we say? Oh, no, we really meant 2. We didn't meet 17. Well, now somebody claims there is this gigantic gold mine of lithium on the Nevada-Oregon border inside some old volcano. And it happens to be in a type of clay that's easier to get it out, and it's not as polluting. Now, this McDermott caldera, the old volcano, they claim it has 20 to 40 million metric tons of lithium. Realize the Bolivian salt flats presently hold the most in the world, and they say it's about 23 million metric tons. So it can be that size or even bigger. The only problem is, guess what, people? This is an advanced study. Well, gee, we really thought it had all this stuff, but actually it doesn't. And Nook Bohr says, I am cautiously optimistic. If you believe the back of the envelope estimation, it's a very significant deposit of lithium. If you believe the back of the envelope estimation, in other words, for those of you living in the digital age, people used to use these things called letters. And the letters would be mailed in an envelope. I know it sounds like prehistory to you, but that's what people used to do. And if somebody had nothing to write on, they'd get an envelope and they'd write stuff on the back. So this estimation is a very much seat of the pants thing. It may or may not be there. But then again, maybe people aren't going to buy electric battery cars anyways. So it doesn't matter how much lithium they find there if nobody's buying the stuff. All right, you might have wondered, what do you do if you're at a red light and the light won't change? Well, I was just reading about California. And they got rules for everything in California, right? And they say, doesn't matter how long you're waiting there, you cannot go through the red light. We don't care if it's 100 years later. You're not allowed to go through a red light. That's what's wrong with California. Their feet are stuck in concrete, you know. They say, well, rock your car back and forth and hope it makes it turn. You know, there's little weights in a lot of them. When your car goes over, it's supposed to trip the light to make it go from red to green, right? They say, try that a bunch of times, but you can never go through it. Never. They suggest this. If you've been waiting for like a day and a half, make a right turn, because you can still make a right turn in California in most places, right? Unless it says no right turn on light. Make a right turn, and then it says make a U-turn wherever it's safe to come back to go the other direction. Now, you want to hope that the light isn't broken red on both sides, because if it is, then you're screwed. Then you'll be forever going around in circles because the red light is off four corners. Only in California, you know. They can't say, well, you waited long enough, go ahead and go, oh no, you can't do that in California. I've been in places where they're broken. I just looked and there's nobody around. I make sure I don't see any police cars. Safe, you know, I just go. But in California, you can't do that, they say. You have to just try to make a right turn and then make a U-turn and come back through the other way, assuming it's not red on all four. Chevy owner 21 says, I have a PO 430 inefficient cat code on my 2021 Colorado. The dealership refuses to work in it due to rough country lift kit, in which the instructions said to slightly cut the exhaust by the drive shaft. They're just going by technicalities, right? It's saying the catalytic converter is inefficient. Now, I'm assuming you just cut the exhaust pipe so it's not rubbing on a drive shaft, and you still have a catalytic converter, right? I mean, if you don't have a catalytic converter, forget it. You never get rid of the code because the computer knows that the data's wrong because there's no cat. I'm assuming you just made it so it doesn't hit the drive shaft. And that really isn't going to affect the inefficiency of a catalytic converter, right? It's still there. It's not like it isn't there. They're just using the thing so, well, they're not going to touch it. You modified, in quotes, the exhaust, so they don't want to give you any kind of a warranty. See, the problem is, the warranty on those catalytic converters is a long time. Usually it's like 7 years, 100, 150,000 miles. They'd have to fix it for free, right? They don't want to fix it for free. Listen, you modified the vehicle. We're not going to work on it. Technically, the swines can get away with that, even though as long as your cat's still there, it's there. But they're just saying that because they don't want to have to fix it for free. Realize, everybody out there, if you got a later model vehicle like that and the cat goes bad, they got to fix it for free. Those cats are supposed to be warranted, like I say, sometimes as much as 7 years and 150,000 miles. So they don't want to fix anything for free at the dealers. All the warranties are invalid, just like if you get in a wreck. They'll say, oh, your car was wrecked. Oh, the warranties are invalid. No, it's a wrecked car. Any excuse that they don't have to fix something that they're supposed to for free, believe me, they will take it. What you want to do is go to a mechanic like me and have it checked out and see what is the root cause. Many codes. There are dozens of things that can trip an inefficient catalytic converter. PO 430 code. Make your head spin. Okay, I just read an article that says EV ownership is equivalent to paying $17 a gallon for gasoline. When you figure in everything, including the electricity, the building of the cars, the extra expense that you have, it's not cheap. They're trying to say, oh, it's the future, it's the future. If it's the future is going to be super expensive. And it's getting so expensive that even companies like Ford are starting to bail it out. Check it out. Ford just postponed $12 billion in EV investments. Hertz is slowing the electrification of its rental fleet. And Tesla's still in a price war, lowering their prices to try to get people to buy them. Because he's no longer the only boy in the block and he can charge what he wants. Guess what? The values are going down. The used Teslas are getting dirt cheap. People think, oh, yeah, it's affordable. No, it isn't. The cars cost a bunch. You buy electricity for the electric car when you're traveling somewhere. You can pay 4 or 5 times what you pay when you charge it at your house, because there's no real rules. They can charge whatever they want. They can put surcharges on. They can do whatever they want once you're away from your house. $17 a gallon in comparison to gasoline. Yeah, well, maybe that'll make more people think, gee, maybe I'll keep my gasoline cars until they figure this electric car stuff out. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.